Huntrix don't miss. And neither does Sony Animation apparently, because once I watched K-pop Demon Hunters out of sheer curiosity and mild death threats from my server, I immediately understood why it is inescapable. In terms of animation, its use of stylized 3D animation with 2D elements is right off the bat similar to the Spider-Verse films, albeit with less influence from comic books and more from anime. We're talking goofy, exaggerated facial expressions with some of the most creative representations of being down bad I have ever seen. Whoever came up with the popcorn eyes, you deserve a Medal of Honor. Cynically, I am resigned to the fact that it was probably produced under terrible working conditions, just like Spider-Verse. But given we are all suffering in the 2020s, today I'm just gonna focus on how much I love this before reality fully sinks in. Okay. But even beyond the animation, it is clear just how much passion went into this project. I am not a K-pop girly, but even I could tell this was made by people who knew their shit. And the K-pop girlies in my server can confirm they do indeed. A unique premise that is accessible and enjoyable to all, but especially by those who can understand the little Easter eggs referencing the actual K-pop scene. And from what little cursory knowledge I have, even the story itself can apply to the darker aspects of the industry. I won't be covering that comprehensively, but I will definitely mention it later on for the sake of further discussion. From animation to music to characters to writing and pacing, this movie is firing on all cylinders. And so today, I want to yap about it. Why I adore this movie, how I interpret this story about the demons within us all, and the mistakes we've made, accepting even the messier, darker aspects of our own nature, and some small critiques that I think could be ironed out with some more media spun off from this movie. Because seriously, this needs to be a franchise, like stat. Naturally, spoilers for the movie lie ahead, so viewers beware. Before we begin, if you're new here, ciao! My name is Thomas, aka the Unicorn of War, and I make videos about whatever the hell I like. Animation, games, pretty much anything that I can never shut the fuck up about. I share my experience and opinions with you, and you listen because I'm not sure why. I don't know, maybe you just need something on in the background while you go about your life. I respect that. That's me for real. I can't go get groceries without listening to something. I'll go insane. So if that sounds interesting to you, then be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications because YouTube hates creators almost as much as Rumi hates herself. And also please consider, if you're willing and able, pledging your support for myself and the channel over on Patreon. Patrons get access to early videos and scripts, Patreon exclusive content, and the private Union of War Discord server. Now, without further ado, let the chaos commence. If 2D animation is dead, its spirit lives on in this era of heavily stylized 3D. There's been a lot of backlash towards Disney for its bad corporate practices and mountains of slop in recent years, and by extension, the reuse of the same tired Pixar-style animation seen in both Pixar and 3D Disney films. Turning Red at least experimented a bit, but it has been cathartic seeing Disney get its crown snatched by movies finding ways to marry the best of both 2D and 3D, focusing far less on realism and needless detail, and more on expressive character animation and vibrant creative worlds. The movie wastes no time in getting you invested in the girls and their personalities, and I think most of that is owed to the way that they are animated. Their petty annoyance towards having their plane hijacked and totaled by demons, their love for devouring food by the truckload and couch rotting, and their bad bitch energy and not only their choreography, but how they so effortlessly style themselves in the middle of their fights. All of this works in tandem with the writing to help you understand and relate to the characters right off the bat, making sure that you are seated for the show. It's not easy to pull off the usual comic deformations seen in anime and 3D, but they managed it here. They must be witches. Anime witches. The girls look fabulous, and I appreciate that they are proudly feminine while still kicking so much ass. But the movie also isn't afraid to make them look silly or berserk or messy to help communicate what they're feeling. It's nice seeing 3D animation lean into this kind of expressiveness, especially for women lead characters who don't have to look pretty all the time. Obligatory Winx confession here. God, I wish the Winx reboot looked like this. K-pop Demon Hunters embraces its uniqueness in every aspect, showing love for its influences while using all of it to craft something that we'd never quite seen before. Just like the original Winx did back in 2004, what do you know? And what does the Winx reboot do? Sacrifice its uniqueness on the altar of looking like a knockoff Miraculous Ladybug with inexpressive, buggy, uncanny character models and AI-generated rags, at the same time that Ladybug is upgrading its own visuals. Yikes. I know there's mentions of K-pop fashion influencing the Winx's new looks, but after seeing K-pop Demon Hunters, that is an insult to K-pop fashion. Rumi wouldn't be caught dead wearing that abomination that Reboot Bloom calls a skirt. The animation especially pops off in fight scenes, which also serve as the musical numbers. With our story being about K-pop idols, the effort put into weaving the music's importance into everything else is commendable. We'll talk about that in the music section, but as for how it applies to action, I appreciate how the action is not only well choreographed and easily readable, but also timed perfectly with the music. Seeing the girls summon their weapons out of the Hanmoon strings in time with the beat is amazing. I have that little bit of how it's done on loop. And speaking of the Hanmoon, it really signifies the expert visual storytelling going on in this movie. Those first 15 minutes do such a great job explaining the premise of the movie to you and establishing what visuals represent what. The blue strings emitted by the girls' music, invoking blue light from the people's hearts, pushing back the demon tides, really help to provide a visual for how successful the girls are at fighting back against Gima's forces throughout the movie. The use of color in particular is phenomenal. The movie as a whole is unashamedly vibrant, but specific colors are tied to specific characters or ideas. A calm, soothing blue is associated with the Huntrix Girls. This fiery, ominous magenta is associated with Gima and the demons, and then gold is used for the ideal that the girls are striving for. All the environments are soaked in these colors, not only creating mesmerizing, unique visuals that look like they're ripped right out of a goddamn music video, but also helping to set the tone and carry the story in ways that your brain instinctively registers before you even have to put it into words. As a non-K-pop girly, I have to say, this soundtrack slaps. And all the K-pop experts that I know can confirm that this soundtrack would very easily pass for actual K-pop, so slay. The demons. I can see this easily being a person's gateway into actual K-pop music, but on its own, these are all Spotify playlist worthy. I am an album girly, but rest assured, this will be blasting in my car at max volume for the next month at least. But it's not enough for the music to be good. Here, the songs all advance the story, helping you to understand the characters' personalities and goals, while also advancing their relationships and conflicts. That is the sign of a truly great musical. This movie just wouldn't work without its musical numbers, neither in terms of function or theming, nor would it be anywhere near as fun or engaging. Thematically, I appreciate how music is used here as a tool for healing, self-expression, and connection. If demons are the dark, negative, destructive forces of the world, then music is used to shield people from it and help forge relationships between all of them. I mean, just look at the state of the world right now and tell me that you haven't been clinging to your favorite albums to help you either escape from it or to try and make sense of it. Music is by far one of the best things humans have created, and one of the few things that convince me that there is indeed still some good in us, after all. When Rumi is trying to sing about no longer hiding and accepting who she is in Golden and unable to hit the high notes, I love it. Because, hello, she's not living up to that at all. She's hiding who she is from her friends, from the world, and wanting to eliminate her demon half rather than accept it. In terms of story, it's perfect in helping you understand her conflict and connecting to her, and in terms of real-world application, I feel called out. Like, how often do we connect to the truths that we find in music or art in general, and then just never apply that to ourselves in our own lives for whatever reason? And likewise, her not wanting to sing Takedown is not only her being wary of singing about the lack of humanity in herself as a half-demon, but also what she and the others have been taught about demons as a whole. What the song is saying not only doesn't resonate with her, but also goes against what she's viscerally feeling, and thus she can't go along with it. Musical storytelling, bitch! I could go on for hours about most of the songs because not one of them is a miss. It's less a question of what's my least favorite and more what song has corrupted my being the most. How it's done is such a good intro song. It's a bad bitch anthem that sells you on the premise of the girls as both icons and hunters and works perfectly as a hook for the movie. My personal favorite bits of the song are when the girls summon their weapons on the plane and when they're doing their makeup while falling from the sky. Like Mira having a napalm era, hello? Also, random fire bars. Bleeding isn't in my blood, fuck yeah. And I have no clue what the hell they're saying when they randomly start singing in Korean, but it sounds gorgeous and I love it every time. Soda Pop is brainless, but that's also why it's so cute. Like, My Little Soda Pop is such a cute turn of phrase that hooks you on the Saja boys just like their audience. It's a goddamn earworm meant on sticking with you because that's their goal. Not to say anything deep or profound or true like the girls' songs, but just to get and keep your attention.
Saja boys love you! My Little Soda Pop.
And that was actually something brought up by a girly in my server, you know who you are, on this being reflective of misogyny in the K-pop industry, and honestly, the music industry as a whole, well, every industry, that men can be mediocre and do the same mindless shit over and over and be lauded and adored for it, but women have to bust their asses and reinvent the wheel constantly to even continue being acknowledged.
My Little Soda Pop. It's catchy.
Free is such a cute duet. Even though Jinu is lying through his goddamn teeth, you can still feel him wanting to believe that he can be saved just as Rumi does. That chorus of them singing together, their voices going up higher and higher and making you feel like you're floating free through the clouds is absolutely heavenly. Now for my top 3 songs: Golden, Your Idol, and This Is What It Sounds Like. For starters, Golden is absolutely gorgeous and heartwarming. Hearing where each of the girls have come from, with specific attention given to Rumi's self-hatred and suppression, and how they're striving for a better, happier life together, immaculate. It's not just about making the Hanmoon gold, it's about seeing the gold in themselves. Truthfully, this is giving the K-pop Demon Hunter equivalent of the Golden Girls theme song, and I need to see a song swap for these two treasures of media right now. Rumi is Dorothy, Zoe's Rose. Mira's not quite Blanche, she's more Sophia.
Why don't you just kiss and make up? Why don't you just blow it out your ditty bag?
Who's Blanche? Sound off in the comments. Watch it be like all the Saja boys. Now, is my gayness to blame for liking your idol? Yes, it is. Quite a bit, yes.
Feel the way my voice gets underneath your skin.
Look, the men are gorgeous, and as much as we all like to make fun of the obsession with the enemies to lovers trope, it works. It worked on me, okay?
Oh no, he's hot!
Jinu can have my soul. Whenever I find it, of course. But beyond pretty men, it's also just a dope villain song, with the Saja boys talking about loving the listener for their sins. So much of the movie is about the shame in all of us, so it makes sense that this song, At the Darkest Hour, is trying to exploit that with this kind of self-destructive, dark escapism. And yeah, I bawled my eyes out with This Is What It Sounds Like. A final battle where the girls accept who they are, belting their hearts out as they fight through literal demon hordes to get back to each other. Bitch, I'm sold. I love the story in the lyrics about being broken, but finding beauty in that brokenness. The way that the light catches the broken glass, almost like we're all mosaics of everything we've been through, good and bad. Like this is right up my alley. This was made in a lab for me. Also, don't think I didn't catch the golden lei motif coming back as the crowd vocalizes. I heard it and it sent shivers up my spine. I am still so bitter that this movie wasn't in theaters, mostly because I need to hear all of these songs booming from cinema speakers. That final song especially. Oh my god, I need to cry in public to this fucking movie. I need a sing-along. At its core, the movie is about the Huntrix Girlies. their friendship, their struggles, and how their music represents the connection that unites and strengthens them, not only as warriors, but as people. Zoe and Mira are archetypes that we've seen before, and I wish they got more to work with. But to me at least, the level of expressiveness that we see in them and hints at their inner demons do most of the legwork to make them as lovable as they are. Overall, I adore the girlies being into fashion and makeup without that taking away from their badass cooler than you vibes, and while letting them be goddamn dorks when they're off the clock and just having fun. Like, do you know how rare it is to see all of that together in media? God, this movie's perfection. Mira is so blunt and apologetic. I wish I had her level of unbothered energy. She calls things as she sees them, and if you cross her, I have no doubt she would rip out your spine and use it as floss.
Yeah, that's right.
But that doesn't make her mean or cruel. She's just as loving as the others, and a lot of her animosity towards Rumi throughout the movie I think is more from betrayal at the thought of not being trusted by one of the few people that has ever loved Mira for who she is. Almost like, you accepted me as I am, and yet you don't think that I would do that for you.
Look, I'm kind of a difficult person. Overly blunt, short-fused, highly aggressive. Somehow, with you guys, they're okay.
And Zoe is adorable. She is so cute and eager and high on life.
I didn't even get to finish my damian!
Why do they always interrupt our snacking?
But that also makes her worry that she's unlovable for being too much. She and Rumi both have a very, I need to be overprotective in order to be worthy of love kind of vibe. And yeah, I feel dragged by that. I do. I really do. Oh God.
Before I joined Huntrix, I felt like my thoughts and my lyrics and all my notebooks were just useless and weird.
And real quick, can we talk about how Zoe is literally what reboot Musa should have been? The hair, the looks, the vibes, just everything. No whitewashing, clear East Asian features and fashion, and a lovely blend of feminine and tomboyish fashion. I need Musa with music note throwing knives and baggy pants. Stat.
Friend or not, she's gonna get mused. She's gonna get mused? What's that?
But while I do love these two, I also wish we got more into their pasts. Hence why I would love a K-pop Demon Hunter show, where we can spend entire episodes dedicated to each girl and her own stories and struggles. I would love episodes where we just get to meet each girl's family and how she joined Huntrix. Now, Rumi is by far the most complex, obviously since, she's the protagonist. It's a lot harder to slot her into a pre-existing archetype compared to the other girls. And yeah, she's my favorite. She's my favorite. Mostly because I see a self-suppressing, self-hating, self-denying character, and my queer heart goes, oh yeah, I know that song and dance all too well 10-minute version.
Why are you gay? I'm the only one who'll love your sin.
She's been hiding who she is, believing her existence is an evil mistake for her entire life. And while she is striving to protect people from demons, she's also doing it to justify her own existence. Like, she has to balance the scales for her birth. She has to go the extra mile to make up for the fact that she, in her eyes, never should have been born. She doesn't believe that she is worthy of love, but is instead working so that one day she will have earned the privilege of being loved. And that's really the crux of it, thinking that you have to earn the right to be loved. Ooh. Even the fact that her hiding her patterns means that she can't relax in the spa with the other girls. Like, she can't just chill and let her walls down until she's made herself this unattainable ideal that removes half of who she is. Like, damn, that hits so hard. I can't relax because I am unworthy of relaxation and vulnerability until I have scrubbed away all of the imperfections and darknesses of my own soul. Tell me you don't feel dragged hearing that. Like, I did. I absolutely did. My only real issue here is that we don't go into the details of her past. Like, who her mom was, how she met her demon dad, what her demon dad was like. We don't really need all those details, but I do feel like they would help to further contextualize the kind of self-hatred that Rumi has. Even Celine, the mentor figure, has very little presence in the movie. I kind of expected her to almost be the boss that the girls report into, but nah.
But I never thought that would be a child like you.
She's just kind of a non-presence that disappears until the end of the movie, and to be fair, that scene at the tree where Rumi demands to know why Celine couldn't love all of her.
Why couldn't you love me? I do. All of me!
And Rumi says that she's glad the old Hanmoon born of denying who she is gone.
This is the Hanmoon I'm supposed to protect. I'm glad to see it destroyed.
Bitch, me too! The fuck?
It does hit me like a semi-truck. It does. But it also feels like huge chunks of the story are missing. Perhaps there are deleted scenes that went a bit further into Celine's role in the story. And truthfully, the movie still excels even with this absence, but it is still quite noticeable. Really, it all boils down to the fact that I need more K-pop demon hunters. This movie is amazing and truthfully feels like a killer pilot meant to sell us on an entire show that goes more into depth about the characters in their world, which I would absolutely be seated for, you bet your fucking ass. Oh, also, love Bobby, stan Bobby.
Just need a little water.
Did someone say water?
Hi, Bobby!
Water, now!
Best manager ever, and I wish all managers were like him, taking such a small fee, always defending his girl's right to rest, and being an overall icon. We love Bobby!
My girls will sing when they're ready.
And even the fact that the fans themselves are like super chill about the Huntrix Girlies and genuinely love them. Like, maybe it's just me being really jaded on fandom culture, but like, ooh, girl, I wish fandoms were actually that caring about the people they're centered around because, ugh. Especially because, like, again, I'm not a K-pop girly, but like, you know, I've heard things about how it works. Like K-pop idols having to hide that, you know, they're humans and they make mistakes, that they do things like, I don't know, date. Like fans getting really upset when their idols are human and not this ideal character they've made up in their heads. It's insane. It's utterly insane. And I think it's very interesting the way that the movie itself seems to lean into that with the girls like telling themselves that they can't show their flaws. Again, it's like the team that made this, they knew their shit. And I hope all the K-pop girlies who are like that feel dragged. Now, as for the demons, let's talk about what they represent. Because I mentioned it before, but the idea of the darkness and shame within us all runs through this movie, along with the question of what we do about those forces. Do we try to orphan them in the hopes of living up to some ideal, or do we embrace them as parts of who we are, worthy of love? The answer is obvious, and yet most of us live the way that Rumi does for most of the movie, and that's the real tea. Jinu really puts it best in his conversations with Rumi, that Gima is that voice at the back of your head trying to confirm your worst thoughts and fears about yourself.
You can't do anything for your family. You're not good enough for them. But I can help you be good enough.
That you're unlovable, that you are rotten to the core, that everything you do is a mistake and evil and wrong, that your mistakes define who you are, and that no matter what you do, you will never escape the worst parts of yourself. We all have a Gima at the back of our heads, and he never shuts the fuck up. Ever. Like, ever. Good lord, man, it's 3 a.m. I'm not sure whether all the demons used to be human like Jinu, but it is also important to remember that East Asian views of demons tend to be quite different from the Western, usually Judeo-Christian ideas of demons. For the sake of simplicity, let's just lean into the idea that all the demons are indeed like Jinu, or at the very least represent the negative forces of the world that can incite the negativity within ourselves. We're all made up of darkness and light, yin and yang, y'all get it, y'all get it. In this case, Jinu and Rumi are vital for the movie's theme of self-acceptance. For Jinu, I was utterly engrossed as he told Rumi his backstory, and absolutely gagged at the reveal that he lied.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
Intentionally abandoning his family for temporary wealth and luxury before becoming enslaved to Gima. You want to root for him? But he keeps making terrible, no good choices because he believes that he's rotten to the core, so why bother trying to be better? And while his end is tragic, his sacrifice does atone him. It's him making up for everything he's done to save Rumi, to give her a chance at her happy ending, while also in a way freeing him of the shame and guilt that have kept him in demonic chains for 400 years. A reminder that no matter what you have done, what mistakes you've made, there is always good in you. And it's never too late to try and do the right thing. Ideally, you wouldn't die while doing that, but, you know, it's drama. Also, apparently, the sword that Jinu's soul becomes at the end is based on the 4 Tiger sword, a Korean blade believed to ward off evil spirits. Immediately made me sob and also love that weird-ass tiger even more. I didn't write about them in the script. Can we talk about the tiger and the bird and how much we all love them and want plushies of them? The bird being so fucking done with the tiger shit, and the tiger is just this dopey ass looking motherfucker, always like knocking over shit and trying to put it back, and he can't. It's oh my god. And the hat lore sent me into fucking orbit. Oh my god. Rumi, meanwhile, at first denies and hates the demonic part of her, but later on comes to embrace it, no longer hiding her patterns. Personally, I would love to see her using some demonic powers in her fighting style, but I still adore this kind of theming, of embracing all parts of yourself, light and dark. And even beyond demonhood, the way that the girls are encouraged to hide their imperfections as K-pop idols, to hide their own humanity from each other, I think really drives this theme home. How this refusal to open up and be vulnerable about the messier parts of who we are hurts and nearly destroys our friendships and ourselves. It makes the girls far more vulnerable to Gima's influence, whereas embracing their darkness immunizes them. And the queer coding, I think, is also kind of obvious as well. Hiding a part of yourself that you're taught is inherently evil and shameful, wanting to be seen and loved for who you are, rather than this ideal role that you've been told that you have to embody. Sadly, very relevant in the terrible no-good era that is the 2020s. I really love that line in This Is What It Sounds Like, where they go, "So we're not heroes, we're still survivors." Like, sure, we, the audience, will call them heroes, because, you know, they save the day or whatever. But the line is meant to communicate that even if they may not live up to this heroic, perfect ideal, the girls are still out here doing what they can to make a better, safer, happier world. They don't have to lose their imperfections and identities or be perfect for the sake of their goal. Now, I'm not entirely sure if the honeymoon is entirely sealed by the end of the movie. I don't think it is, given it's not the shining gold we caught glimpses of earlier on, and I kind of hope it's not. In reality, you can't do away with all the evils and darknesses of the world, because that's not how the world works. Look, I'm a duality girly. Light and dark go together forever and are interdependent. Sure, the girls will have to keep on fighting, but it's worth it to remain who they are, especially Rumi. And also a reminder to us that we can never give up the fight to make the world better. Make of that what you will, girlies. Ooh, I need a nap. If it's not clear at this point, I adored this movie. I really hope we get to see more of these girlies, be it through sequels or a show. I just want to know more about them and their world. I want to know more about the previous girl groups. And dear God, I want to know more about Ruby's parents, please. Please. This movie came out of goddamn nowhere and took the hell over. And I am so glad that it did. We need more art like this, taking chances and bringing their concepts to life for the sake of not only pushing boundaries, but telling amazing stories that rip out your heart, dance all over it, and hand it back to you. Especially if that's being done by a very, very pretty demon boy. You know, this might be a little bit random, but those outfits they wear in, like, your idol, I'm sure there's historical connotation to those outfits. I haven't looked into that, admittedly, but my first thought was pilgrims, like evil Salem witch trial pilgrims. Why did I find it hot? Anyhow, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this from me, then be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications, because YouTube hates creators. And if you're willing and able, pledging your support for myself and the channel over on Patreon. I'm the Unicorn of War, and damn, Rumi's love life is a real shit show, ain't it?